Hi, my name is Miley, founder of Remarkable You and global ambassador for the Vascular Birthmarks Foundation. And this is More Than a Birthmark. Welcome to More Than a Birthmark, the web series featuring individuals with birthmarks to raise awareness and share some fun facts about this amazing community. My name is Miley, and today I have the opportunity to speak to Erica Czerny, a 37-year-old writer and manager for a nonprofit organization. She is joining me today from Vancouver, Canada. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to me today, Erica. Okay, now I see somebody. That's good.
Okay, there I am. Yeah, I didn't know what was
Hey,
going on
there
there.
we
Sorry
go.
about that.
I can hear you now, and I can see you. So
Good.
that's
I'm
all that
glad.
matters.
I'm glad. Good. I'm glad.
Anyway,
Wow. I'm
other than
sorry to
that,
hear that.
yeah.
Jeez.
How are
Wow.
you?
I'm good. Sure.
So we first connected through your Instagram blog for your writing at Erica Black Writer. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your blog and what inspires your writing?
For sure. Well, that blog I have now stopped writing for, mainly because I found that it was taking too much time. But yes, so what happened was for the longest time, I, stayed offline. I wasn't like an online person. I was a little bit shy. I was a little bit kind of like disconnected. But then I just, kind of figured, hey, why don't I kind of open up my disability and, having an arteriovascular malformation and what it's like living with that and everything like that. So yeah, that's kind of what prompted me to start it. And it was really helpful in kind of, even at an older age that I am, kind of breaking through being ashamed of it, how other people would perceive me. I was always very hyper aware of that when I was a kid, mainly because the veins on my leg are very like prominent, like you can see them. So I never used to wear shorts and things like that when I was a kid. I do now because I've since, kind of overcome that. But yeah, I never wore shorts. I never wore dresses or anything like that. I used to walk with a limp, for example, when I was young before I had my surgery. So yeah, I guess just writing the blog kind of helped me work through the little things that I was, still dealing with from a child. And yeah, I mean, I got a lot of positive feedback on it, but yeah, I stopped because it was just too much time, to be honest. It was like
I
a full-time
totally
job.
understand that. I get
it. Yeah.
Well, first off, I think that it's awesome that you even did that. Because
Thanks.
really any way of like spreading awareness or even just sharing your story is so helpful for the vascular birthmark community and even for anybody out there listening who maybe needs to learn about vascular birthmarks or are curious about different stories. I found that like there are people that have reached out to me and are like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea this existed. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And like to me, like that's so rewarding because I'm thinking, oh, I actually made an impact on people other than the vascular birthmark community. Like I'm making an impact on the world of people who don't fully understand what a vascular like birthmark entails, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I want to say to the vein thing, I actually had a very interesting conversation. I was getting my hair done for a photo shoot, and there are these really great people, and there's another girl there that works as well. And I was kind of talking about my condition, about like my birthmark, and she goes, "Wait, so you have this condition, right? Because I have Klippel-Trenaunay syndrome, and so you have like vast, like veins, right?" And like I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, I think that's so cool. She's like, I want that. She's like, um, my one friend has like almost like a spider veins. And like,
Yep.
she's like, that'd be so cool to have like spider veins. Like, they don't understand the pain side of it, but
Yeah,
visually it's
exactly.
very cool to like see that. And like, it was very cool to see like that outside perspective. She's like, I want something like that on my body, right? Because you
Yeah.
always think, oh, I should be ashamed or I should hide it. Because like,
Yeah.
you think it's weird, but there's other people out there that think it's cool. Like, I had somebody tell me my
Yeah.
birthmark looked like a painting. So anyway,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's cool
cool.
too. Yeah, it was a good conversation. It was very
That's
what's the
awesome.
word? Eye-opening, I guess,
Yes.
because I'm
Yeah,
not used to people thinking like that's cool.
exactly.
So, in addition to writing, you also mentioned that you love to dance. As a
I
dancer myself,
do.
I love to
Yes.
talk about dancing. Can you tell me a little bit
Yes.
about your dancing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, despite having my disability, I started dancing at a very young age. So I initially started with tap when I was 6. And then decided that I wanted to do musical theater and jazz, so I did those as well. And I've been very lucky in that my teachers, especially when I was, well, even now to this day, they all would work with me, you know, rather than, especially when I was in group things, you know, they would make sure that like if there was a part that I couldn't do, they would choreograph something different for me, or they would, you know, or something different for like me and some other people to do, you know, in the background or in the front or somewhere, something that I could do with my leg. Because as I mentioned in the notes that I gave you, because of the surgery that I had, I'm still not able to fully bend my knee back all the way. So it stops at about a 90-degree angle because of the muscle on the other veins. And then I can't remember what else was removed. So that's just one of the side effects that I didn't know was going to happen going into the surgery, because I was only 11. I didn't know, you know, things like that would happen for the rest of my life, but it made it better. So the surgery was a good thing. But yes, so anyway, back to dance. I love it. I do contemporary now. I've actually really lucked out. So I went back into dance again last year after taking like a 10-year hiatus. And I just was doing, sorry, my cat's tail is like right there. I was just doing solos. Yeah, I was just doing solos. And I was really flattered because last year my teacher was like, you could do a competition. And I was like, I have never been asked to do a competition, you know, when I was younger for dance. So it was really like gratifying in a way, especially like, you know, being older and going back into dance and having, you know, the disability that I have, going into the competitions. And I won first place and on all three that I did.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Thank you.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm in another 3 this year. Thank you. Yeah. I'm another 3 competitions this year. So we'll see how those go.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wait, no, so much to unpack here because like I'm excited now. I don't usually get to talk about dance in these interviews. So first off, tap, if you could tell, I was very excited when you said that because
yes,
tap has always been my favorite style and it's so underestimated. Like everyone's like, tap is an old style. Like no one cares about tap anymore. And I'm like, I love tap. And like, I would say personally, not to like toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at tap. Like I love doing tap. Like I feel like technically I do things correct and I like enjoy like learning it. Like there's no part of me that's like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? So I think that's awesome. And then you said contemporary, which I also really enjoy. But competitive dance, I've been a competitive dancer since I was 8. So I'm curious, just out of curiosity, like what competitions have you done? Because I'm curious if you.
What were they called? One was, oh my gosh. Okay, so one was like for like the Surrey Festival of Arts. So I don't even know if they're, and then because like I live up here in Canada, right? I'm trying to remember Freedom Dance Cup. Do you know that one? I don't know if these are Canadian or if they like.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
That's
It'll be different because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another one, and I can't even remember what it's called right now.
That's no, but seriously, that's just awesome and stuff that I got to talk about this because, like I said, I never get to talk about dance in like these interviews. So I just find it really interesting that you enjoy dance, and I'm glad that we get to share both our love.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, what's your cat's name?
His name is Seifer, like Seifer cat.
Seifer?
Yeah.
Can I see Seifer?
Seifer, come here, buddy. He might not come now because he's waiting for water at the sink, and
then he'll come back during like another question.
He'll come back and put his butt in my face again.
He'll mention in the edit like this is Seifer. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as we just discussed, Canada. You live in Vancouver, Canada. If I came to visit you, what are some interesting places you would take me in Vancouver? And what is your favorite thing about living in Vancouver?
Oh gosh, I mean, well, I actually live just outside of Vancouver, but I would have to say that we have something called Science World here, or as it's like technically branded, the Telesphere of Science, which is like where you can go to like kind of like do science experiments, like anything science related, including like there's lots of different things like things about this is my daughter Kennedy.
Hi Kennedy.
So like they like blow like giant bubbles there. You get to play on like musical instruments. Like there's lots of fun things to do there. Other thing I would probably say is Stanley Park. It's like a man-made park that's kind of in the middle of the city, and it's absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. So it's all surrounded by ocean.
Oh my. Well, I'll tell you, I used to love like those science museums when I was younger.
Mhm,
I still
mhm.
do. I'm not, who am I to pretend like I don't anymore? But
They're awesome.
there was a science museum that my grandmother used to take me to. And I remember it was very similar to what you were describing. Like we got to make like
Mhm.
those fake bubbles.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this one where like um you like clicked a button and like you could see like the tornado of like water and it was like this big like tornado of
Yeah.
water. Like
Yep.
it just what you're describing to me sounds very similar. So
Yes.
like let me just visit Canada and relive my childhood, please, because
Yes.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I actually went to Canada when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I went to Canada and I went to visit Niagara Falls. And I
Yep.
also went on that restaurant that's like I think it's the noodle
Yeah.
with fins, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
The CN Tower.
So
Yep.
I have very like brief memories of it, but I do know
Mhm.
that it happened. So
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah. I am so glad that you agreed to be on my channel today, because you have a type of vascular birthmark that I really don't know very much about.
Mhm.
And one that we have not really covered in my previous episodes. Can you briefly
Okay.
explain an arteriovenous malformation?
Yes. So basically, it's when I was in utero, so in my mom's tummy, the veins in my knee or my leg actually didn't develop properly, and they basically overgrew. So they grew into all like different areas of my leg, grew like into the kneecap, things like that. So it's caused a lot of swelling, and it was very tender, caused a lot of pain. I don't know, like basically anything to kind of like set the malformation off. So one of the things actually that was kind of interesting was whenever I went on a trampoline, it would make the malformation flare up, and basically my knee would be locked for anywhere from a couple days to like weeks afterwards. Sorry, there's cat on my nose. Um, and I wouldn't be able to walk properly. I mean, I wasn't able to walk properly for many years. But yeah, so I'd have a lot of flare ups when I was younger, up until my major surgery, when they took out like a lot of the malformation itself and what was kind of causing the knee pain and everything like that. So yeah, it was it was like a lot of pain, a lot of days in bed, a lot of resting. Things did get better though after the surgery, in terms of being able to walk, being able to kind of like function regularly. Another thing though, before I had my surgery, was I also wasn't able to straighten my legs the whole way. I'm now able to straighten my leg the whole way, but not bend it back the whole way. Whereas before the surgery, I was able to bend it back the whole way, but not straighten it the whole way. And that was mainly because of the way that the veins grew into the knee joint itself. Anything could, like I said, cause a flare up. Even like straightening it the whole way would cause it to flare up and then kind of like cause it to lock. But it was, kind of traumatic, as a kid, like having to deal with that because like nobody else
Right.
that I knew of had that, right? It was, to this day it's very rare, right? So, but if I could say something to my younger self, it would be, um, yeah, the people who are, making fun of you or bullying you or anything like that, that says more about them than it says about me. And I really
Yeah,
wish that I could have known that when I was younger, but you live and learn. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my first question is
Hmm.
from, someone who has KTS.
Hmm.
Um, do you wear compression stockings? Just out of
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yep, I do. So I usually wear compression stocking on both legs just because my right leg is so much weaker than my left leg that I don't want the blood flow to kind of, or my right leg to be working too hard, or my left leg to be working too hard. So I just do it for like even sake. I also wear a knee brace. So depending on, because I still get pain. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
On it, not so often as I used to. Um, I wear a knee brace, either anything from like a sleeve to like a full on like brace that like is like made by, not like an orthopedic person, but they get it like a sports injury store. So the ones with like the joints and all the things that kind of
Yeah.
move around. Yeah, so I have one of those too, but that's rare. I break that out on when it's really bad. Another thing that I should have mentioned before was, as a kind of like secondary to the arteriovascular malformation itself is that I also have major arthritis in my knee joint because of everything that's happened. So, you know, sometimes even just stepping on my leg wrong can cause arthritis to flare up for a couple days, and never really can catch a break.
I understand where you're coming from. I mean, obviously, I don't experience exactly the same thing that you have, but I can tell you, from like the bullying perspective of like what you were kind of talking about briefly, I found, and this is something that I've never really got to share on the series or even on my social media, but back when I participated in PE, I would say middle school, I don't think people fully understand the effects that my condition has on me, because they automatically assume, oh, it's just a birthmark, right? Because that's what they see for me visibly. All they see is a Port Weinstein birthmark. And if you don't know anything about it, you don't know what goes on within that, right? So as someone with KTS, there's other symptoms, like I have painful varicose veins and swelling, as you kind of described. And so, but there's so many other things that happen with that. Like, I know that my right leg is a little bit weaker, and so I found that I would sprain my ankle very easily on the side.
Oh, okay.
I actually got a high sprain ankle, which is high sprain ankle sprain. Anyway, my point is, the orthopedic was like, that is worse than you breaking a bone in certain cases. So, but people don't understand that, and so I was constantly, I would say, bullied or made fun of because I was sitting out and they're like, she's just using it for attention, or she's doing it on purpose to skip out of like PE. And like, we're like, you're faking it, you're copying other people who actually are injured. And I'm like, I'm not faking it, you just don't understand the connection that is happening here. Like, they'd be like, well, one day you had crutches and the next day you didn't. What's going on with that? And I'm like, well, because one day my leg was flaring up and I needed them, and the next I was like, it was better. You know what I mean? And so I wish that more people understood that. So I understand what you're coming from that perspective of things.
Yeah, and I do use a cane now and again for my knee, right? If it's a bad day. And, you know, I always get people commenting on it. Like, and it's just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I can tell you as much as I can, and it's up to you to, you know, do your part to understand it and maybe be empathetic. Beyond that, you know, nothing more I can do.
No one knows your story. Only you truly know your story. So
that's true.
And also, that's something that I had to learn over time, because it's very frustrating when when your problems and your difficulties are not being validated by others, because you want people to come to you and say, oh, I'm so sorry you're experiencing that. Or like, I know when I was sitting out from gym, like, I didn't want people like coming after me and being like, oh, you're sitting out for attention. Like, I want people to like understand my pain and like see my perspective and where I was coming from, but they weren't. Instead, they were making fun of me, right?
Exactly.
So, but only you know your story. And
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I know you kind of briefly touched on this one, but I want to hear a little bit more about it. When you were 11 years old, you had a complex surgery to treat this condition. Can you share a little bit about this?
Yeah, so you know, it was a very long surgery. When the doctor went into, because you know, he had a plan of what was going to happen before it happened. When he actually went in there and saw how much more complex it was than they had originally thought, you know, I ended up being on the operating table for, oh gosh, it was a long time. And then, you know, they said I was going to be in hospital for like a couple of days. I ended up being in there for at least a week.
Oh, wow.
And then, which was fine. But, you know, at 11, you don't know kind of what the outcome's going to be. So I didn't realize like I was going to wake up from, you know, being put under, and my leg was actually in this specially made machine that was made for me, which was moving my leg, like my leg was strapped in and it was moving my leg back and forth to manipulate it to kind of get like the blood flow and everything, and the muscle, like to keep it from what's the word? I can't think of it right now. But anyway, to just keep the muscles working and to keep the blood flow going. And it was kind of, you know, frightening waking up and seeing that my leg was strapped into this machine that I had no control over. And it was like that for a week. And then once that was done, my leg was actually put into a cast. So I had a full leg cast on for, I think it must have been 6 weeks, which kept my legs straight. Because like I said before, one of the things that I couldn't do before the surgery was straighten my leg the whole way because of the way the veins were in my knee, and it would cause, pain and a flare up and problems if I tried to straighten my leg. So after the surgery, my leg was put into a fit cast for 6 weeks, and that was, another whole thing in itself. And after that, I had, many, many months of physiotherapy and, rehab and all that stuff. Like I missed a lot of school because of it, was home a lot because of it. But, as time, went on and just kind of, got used to having my leg the way it was, got used to the way it looked, because there's like a part on the upper part which looks kind of caved in almost because of the muscle, like it won't regrow there. Obviously I got all the veins in my leg as well. So the veins go all the way from my butt all the way down to my pinky toe, including all the way down the bottom of my foot. So another thing that happens is like I'll get like the little, I can't remember what they're called right now, but the little things in your veins, and like they swell. So like I get those in the bottom of my foot sometimes, and like I can't walk on my foot. It's just nonstop. But yeah, so the surgery at age 11 was, traumatic but necessary. So I do what I had to do.
Okay, I have a few questions following that, because like I think of them.
Sure.
As I'm listening, I guess my first one is, out of curiosity, does it affect your right leg or your left leg?
So it's my right leg.
Okay, why do I feel like we're kind of like vascular birthmark buddies? Because
Yep.
mine's literally on my right leg from my butt down to my pinky toe.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that connection.
That's awesome.
I know, because my one friend who has KTS, I'm like, oh, what leg does it affect? And when we first met, and she was like, oh, it's my left leg. And I'm like, well, we're opposites, which is cool.
Yeah.
But now I have a birthmark buddy. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess kind of addressing like the surgery side of things, I understand like your perspective in certain matters. Like surgery can be scary. Like, and I think I try to explain to other people, I guess, the effect that it had on me personally. Like personally, I got very sick off of anesthesia, and I'm in no way saying that like if you need a surgery, you shouldn't get surgery. Like obviously, do what is best for your health. But for me, like in the past, I've had negative experiences with anesthesia, and so I think the one time I literally started hallucinating because I was like Benadryl, asleep, back up, Benadryl again. Like it was consistent, right? And it's scary because you don't know what's going on. You're still kind of like in that zone of like unconscious, but not really. And like, so I understand what you mean when you're like, what the heck's going on? Like, why am I?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So yeah, I can relate to that. And I think for me personally, it's been like a matter of time to try to combat that fear, because you finally are able to have the confidence to go back in and do it again. And then you have another negative experience. Like for me, like I said, anesthesia, but for somebody else, it could be something else. Or just like anything scary in general. And then you're like, I don't think I want to do this again. And then you finally get comfortable and you do it again, and you're like, nope, never mind. So it's difficult, especially when you need to get it done. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So, and like recently I've been having pain, and I, there's a good amount of chance, like sorry, that did not make sense. There is a good chance that I should have a surgery done. However, there's a part of me that right now doesn't feel ready for that. You know what I mean? And so that's a personal choice. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Anyway, I kind of went off the road with that, but
no, that's okay.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yes. And I've had like little mini surgeries since, like little things to kind of redirect the vein flow, I guess you could say, but nothing that's ever permanent, because veins, they will find a different channel, like they'll find a different path, and it's an ongoing battle. It's not curable. There's nothing that can be done, which is fine.
But it's frustrating, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I remember I think like 2 years ago, I was in Disney, and whenever I'm in Disney, I flare because you're walking a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's a lot of instead of like dancing where like you're moving, because people don't understand that. There's different types of exercise. when I'm walking consistently in Disney, I'm constantly pounding on my leg. So anyway, I had a bad flare up, and I got back home and I was in the worst of pain and I didn't understand it. And so finally I went to see my doctor, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, yeah, you have a blood clot. Now it wasn't a DVT. It was superficial,
Right.
but it
Right.
hurt. And like,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do for that really, except for like rest and take care of it. But it's so frustrating because you're like, what do I do to fix this? Because sure enough,
Exactly.
and this is where the connection comes in, I go to Disney again this year and I have pain again. And it's another
Mm-hmm.
vein that became, swollen and inflamed, had to go to urgent
Yeah.
care. My doctor thought it
Yeah.
was a blood clot. It was not, but it was good. I checked. The
Yeah.
point is, it's frustrating because it's an ongoing battle and there's really
Yeah.
nothing you can do to stop it. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, what message do you feel is most important to share with the vascular birthmark and rare disorder communities who may be watching?
You know what? At the end of the day, be yourself and be confident with who you are, and also treat other people with respect, right? I mean, you never know what anybody else is going through. And I think that's the thing that you and I probably both share, is that we have what's technically called invisible disabilities. So like you probably, with you dancing and doing your pageants and everything like that, people probably don't think, oh, she's, got KTS, right? Like, and
Yeah.
now these days I walk pretty fine. Like there are days here and there that I'll limp, but I'm walking down the street with a pair of jeans on. Nobody's gonna look at me and be like, oh, I bet she's disabled, right? So you never know what anybody else is going through, right? You never know. Hey, maybe that person, they just found out something bad in their lives, or they just found out that something, they have to have surgery for their, disability that maybe I can't see. So that's the thing. Just lots of kindness, and don't point and stare. I hate that.
Mhm. I 100% agree. It feels the worst people stare at you. Like, I've had people who like do this direct thing,
Oh, yeah.
and you're like, I know
Disgusting.
you're talking about me. And the worst
Yeah,
part is,
yeah,
most of the time it's just because they're curious. Like, that they're just curious.
yeah,
And my
exactly.
suggestion, adding on to
Mm-hmm.
this, let me say it again, my suggestion, adding on to this, is to go up and ask the person. I've had people come up to me and be like, if you don't mind me asking, why are you wearing a stocking on one leg? Because personally,
Yeah, yeah,
leg. Um, or if you don't mind me asking, why is your one leg red? Like, did
mm-hmm.
something happen?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay to answer. Like, I will answer for you because I prefer that much more
Yeah,
than this,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Because it
Yeah,
makes you feel uncomfortable. You're like, okay, so
yeah,
just come up and talk to me. Because it makes
yeah,
you feel very alienated, I guess, is the best way I can
mm-hmm.
put it. And it's
Yeah,
not fair. So
yeah,
I agree. Kindness though, and really just trying to be understanding of other people because you never know someone else's story until
yeah,
you watch.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, in addition to being a writer, you work at a nonprofit, which is awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about your career?
Yeah, so I work at a nonprofit facility. It's housing for adults with mental health issues. Um, I'm on the admin team there, so I'm one of the managers who just kind of oversees the operation. I work with a lot of really great like healthcare workers and support workers. But I have to say, like the best part of the job is being able to interact with our clients, who are the residents who live there. Talking with them, kind of it's always interesting. Like every day there's something new. It's never a dull moment there. We've got lots of interesting people to communicate with and interact with. And that's another thing. And like you can judge these people who have these mental health issues all you want, but at the end of the day, like they are just people too. Like they really are. They also have feelings. They also have thoughts. They also have wants and needs and things like that too, just like the rest of us. Like don't put them in a corner, just like don't put us in a corner making assumptions about us. So I know it's very rewarding to work in a place where I kind of feel almost almost in line with them, like
Right.
it's kind of like I know what you've gone through kind of thing. So yeah.
That's really awesome that you do that. Like that's so
Thanks. Yeah, I love it.
yeah. Um, I guess I mean I don't have much to say about it because I don't personally have experience in that field, but I
Yeah,
think that's really
that's
cool.
okay. Thanks.
Um,
Yeah, I like it.
I mean you kind of already answered this one, but I'm gonna ask you anyway.
Sure.
What is your favorite part of working in the mental health field?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, probably being able to interact with the residents there, or like we call them clients, just talking with them, kind of finding out their story. And they're always, not everybody, granted, like not everybody's the same, but a lot of them are, just the sweetest people I've ever met.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know what? Like I said, obviously I have not worked in the mental health field, but I do have people in my life that have struggled with mental disorders, and you know their story, but you don't know it fully. Like I said from the beginning, kind of connecting back. No one knows your full story except for yourself. But you do know that they're human. We're all human
Exactly.
in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you can't look at somebody and put them in a box based off of what you know about them. Like you can't put me in a box and be like triple Chennai syndrome girl, birthmark girl. Like because you don't know all the other amazing things about them. And that's the whole point of this series, to show all the amazing things that they've done outside of their vascular birthmark anomaly, condition syndromes, all of that jazz. And we're here to talk about all the amazing things that we have done. So, okay, this is a very off topic, but I always ask my guests, if you had a magical superpower, what would it be and why?
A magical superpower. I'd probably want to be invisible, because I would like to be able to like overhear things and like sneak into different places I'm not supposed to go.
I like that one. I really like that one. Could you imagine just like, when you're like in the bathroom and like you're using the restroom and like you overhear like the drama, but you don't want to leave because you want to hear the rest of it. Like you're invested. Like one time I was in Disney and this woman comes in, she's young, she's like, "Why did you let grandma go? Grandma was drunk and now grandma's on her own." And I'm like, "Oh, but I'm invested now." And they were angry. But it would be so cool to just like come out and like be invisible and just like listen to the rest of it, like eavesdrop. I've been invested. Like I was on the bus on the way to the Philadelphia airport, and I guess there was another like family like traveling to Orlando, but they were talking about like a dance competition, and I'm a dancer, so like I understand their lingo, and they're talking about so and so's mom did this and so and so's mom did that, and I'm like, oh, I'm like,
exactly.
I mean, I don't know them, but it's interesting, right? So I think that's a very cool one. I don't think I've heard that one. Now, before we end our interview, is there anything additional you would like to share with our viewers today that we didn't cover?
Oh gosh. No, but like I have to commend you, Miley. Like I really I'm so impressed, by like the amount of confidence you have and the awareness that you're spreading. Like I am just so overjoyed, because when I was your age, I mean, we had the internet, but we didn't have social media, right? So I love that you are, using your platform for this. I'm just so impressed with it. And like, I don't think if social media was available when I was your age, I don't think I would have had the guts to do this, because I was so like not confident, right? So keep doing it, girl. I'm so like, you got a supporter on your side forever, for sure. Yep.
I'm flattered. Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I really enjoy doing it, honestly. And I don't know if you know, but we have maybe this More Than a Birthmark episode will come out before the surprise comes out, but we have something coming out, something dropping. So if you're a viewer right now watching this video, keep your ears open. I don't know if it will drop before this video or not. So I'm on my end if it does. But if you're watching, you'll see. So anyway, we have some exciting things coming to Remarkable You. So stay tuned, ladies and gents.
Stay tuned.
So thank you so much, Erica, for taking the time to speak to me today and share a little bit about yourself with our viewers.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I was super excited. Like this was a last minute planned one too, because usually I reach out sooner and I'm like, I haven't done one in forever and I really want to interview somebody. And I'm like, I know who I'm going to text. I know who I'm going to reach out to. And you're like, yes. And I was super excited because usually it takes a little bit longer to plan. So very exciting. I love how you empower people through your writing and personal story to never be ashamed of who they are. You are truly the definition of what makes you different, makes you beautiful, unique, and remarkable. Erica, you are incredible and so much more than that.
Oh, thank you so much, Miley. Appreciate that. Mom in the
Thank
background.
you. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks, Miley. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye.